So you mentioned, your information download, and then your plug, well, all the fam from Detroit, Mudu, Baba, Ayana, I'm familiar. So what is your relationship? How did that build? How did that fruit? And how did you then, do what you're doing, where I then invited you to come to the UK? So how did you hook up with Baba? How did that start, and how did he support you? How did he inspire you? Or, we'll just start there.
That's a whole show in itself there.
I know.
Well, like I said, initially I was dealing with Ayana. She and I started, I was doing massages for her, and we were bartering for readings. She does spiritual readings. So that's where my connection was first, was to her. So from there, I can't even quite remember. I started what happened? I was supposed to speak at the Women in Entheogens conference in Ohio with Kai. So I went there, and it was my first time meeting her. I missed my bus. It was just this whole thing. And I had a brother literally reach out to me and physically deliver me, in Ohio to this event. So I get there, I meet Kai. I was supposed to speak, you know how I am, so I kind of pulled out. I reneged, but I still went and listened and met Kai and met so many wonderful, beautiful people. And Baba was there and working with his wives at the time, Kai, Jindai, and Ayana. So just seeing the flow. And I said, well, Baba, do you get massages? And he, yeah or no, I can't really remember. But on the back end, I came back. I learned how to cultivate the medicine. And I get a call one day, and it was Baba. Baba's like a celebrity. Baba is a celebrity. Yeah, so he reaches out, I hear you're doing your thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm good at it and whatever. And he said, well, I can show you how to do this in a way where you only have to grow once a year. So from there, he and I started bartering massages for classes. So I went along with my 13-year-old daughter at the time so that she could also obtain the knowledge and learn how to cultivate the medicine. So I started going to learn how to grow. And like I said, he's coming for massages, and we have this, back and forth thing as far as that's concerned. And then I go on Facebook one day, and I see where Kai has fallen ill. And I'm seeing, when stuff comes on Facebook, it can be overwhelming when everybody's sending out their love and support. So I called Baba and I said, well, what's going on? So even when I started cultivating, I would reach out to Kai periodically. We, became friends. So we weren't heavy into a sister-friend relationship. But she's like, girl, when you having these mushrooms questions, call me. So we would talk and laugh. And, so when that happened, Baba told me that she had, was on the fast and had fallen and, all that. And I had another brother at the time, and I reached out to him, and he was working in Ohio. And I said, I need to go to Cleveland. He laughed. I said, what? He said, I have a 2:30 meeting in Toledo. Pack your bag. So I immediately was able to go over to the hospital, and Baba comes out, and it was this thing, they were not accepting any more visitors for her. Her vitals were kind of all over the place. And when I saw Baba, I said, can I see her? So he said, I'll go and talk to her father. So Baba went and talked to her father, and they came back you can come. So after that, it was just Baba came around, and I knew he was grieving. So it was my Pisces intuitive nature, I started loving on him. So I probably gave Baba a massage and a bath for a week, spiritual baths, just to cleanse him and massage him and all those things. So through that, we began to, create a tighter bond. I was doing some gardening at the community center where I volunteered, so Baba began to come and help. And I wanted a pizza oven like the one that was in Cleveland. So we built a pizza oven together, and there it was the most beautiful, powerful, ancient cultural experience that I've ever endured. I guess it's like an African mud brick where you're mixing the straw and the sand, and you're squishing it with your feet, and it was this whole thing with Baba. you know, Baba, you know how Baba has his way with the ladies, you know. So, you know, we just developed that relationship, and after about 4.5 months, Jendai made her transition as well. So it was that space all over again of loving on Baba and massaging and bathing, and that's just kind of how our bond formed. So I was already cultivating the medicine. So even though it was kind of through Bob and the mutual community, it wasn't until after I began to grow and do this work that Bob and I, you know, began a relationship after me being a bit of a student, you know.
Mm-hmm. I feel you. Thank you for sharing, sis, man. Thank you. You know, I know, like I'm asked many a times, you know, because you know, Baba has an energy about him, a persona that people just see and they, you know, they judge. Oh, he's the high dose guy, he's the martial arts guy, and you know, I know people like yourselves and others who've got to spend quality time with, you know, quality time with the Prophet and have seen, you know, seen other aspects, you know, seen more degrees of, you know, of who, you know, who his true being was and is. And you know, with that said, I know that, you know, my introduction, so I wanted to find out from you, you know, Kilindi is known for, you know, that kind of like grow your mushrooms, take your mushrooms, go, you know, go do your business and come back with me afterwards, if anything, you know, we can talk about some shit afterwards. You know, did he handle and deal with you in the same way? How was your experience, you know, his nurturing into supporting you in your entheogenic journey?
Well, I want to first say this. Baba's greatest medicine is his love, you know. So that was the medicine that I received from him the most. You know, we've only traveled with the mushrooms really maybe once or twice, you know, so that was interesting. Our relationship wasn't totally based around the medicine. But with me doing the birth work and the medicine work, like Baba was my go-to person, like, well, this is what happened, or what do you think? You know, I would still consult with him. Even now in this drought here in Jamaica, I'm like, Baba, what am I supposed to do? It's dry. You know, so through that and just, you know, again, I'm Aquarius, Pisces, so I'm a bit of a scientist, I'm a visionary, you know, so there are a lot of things that I brought to Baba that I think a lot of times he never even thought about. You know, so he believes in me with the work, sitting up talking about births or, you know, again, people with their rebirth through the medicine or the resurrection. So Baba believes in me. He believes in my work. He supported me. I remember I went to this event with a woman who wrote the book Medical Apartheid. I can't remember her name. I know her last name is Washington. But it was such a profound lecture that she gave and talked about her book, and it changed my life. There were things that I didn't know about, you know, that affected us as a people and the experimentation of blacks through slavery and, you know, throughout history. And I remember Bob and I out somewhere, and he said, oh, I have to stop by Barnes and Nobles to pick something up. So I'm like, okay, you know, we love the library, we love the bookstore. Me and my daughter's tinkering around, and here comes Baba, like, here's a gift for you. He had bought me that Medical Apartheid book. You know, Baba believes in me. All my birth work, all my medicine work. One of the most recent things I said, Baba, I'm starting people off no less than 8-10 grams. Oh, that's what we're doing now. Yes, Baba. Baba was stern in his ways about things, but I break all the rules. So I'm just so grateful for his love and support through everything that I do, even as a mother. In my home, it was Baba who asked me did I have, grains and rice and beans and things to survive if something were to happen in the world. I didn't have a father growing up. I lost my grandfather at a young age, so it was those components of having a real man around, that was strong, that wanted to protect my daughters and I, who came and provided for us. I remember when Baba would catch 2 buses to my house because he lived over an hour away and ride his bike the rest of the way. So, he was a strong support system in my life. And like I say, with the medicine, we cultivated together, we grew together, we harvested together, and then there's that part of me that kind of was so excited that, you know, even now in his transition, I look back and say that, again, I was trying to, I guess, almost implant myself and be this power couple with Baba. But Baba just wanted to love me and be loved by me. So there were times where, and sometimes he would allow like webinars and things. There were times I was behind the scenes. I was creating the website. I'm sending him pictures for his PowerPoint presentations and things like that. So we just had this dance, you know, and then in one of my medicine ceremonies that I saw where he and I were dancing in the garden, and it just showed me like Baba came to this planet to do this dance with me. He showed up and loved me and supported me in ways that no man in my life has. You know, he's seen me at my best and he's seen me at my absolute ugliest worst and still loved me through it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like through his transition, I'm still learning what love is. You know, I've learned what love is. Yeah, we can talk about some of that later too, you know. But that's how I met you, was just in that love and support and the opportunity to come to London, and me not wanting to speak, and Bob was like, "No, you're going." You know, I helped him with one of the Detroit psychedelic conferences, and he's like, "And you're going to speak?" And I'm like, "I don't want to speak. Like, I can do all the folders and the printouts and the registration and the decoration and the food." But I was like, "No, you're speaking." So it was that him even continuing to bring out the best in me. And again, with London and meeting you, that's the opportunity of a lifetime. That was my first time really traveling internationally. And you know how Baba is. He wants to do all the touring. He wanted to go to Stonehenge, you know. He wanted to go to the British Museum and see Big Ben. I'm like, Baba, like, we have a talk tonight. This is my first time. Can I focus? Can I say? He's like, no, we got to do this. We got to do that. And I look back now and I'm so grateful for those opportunities of a lifetime, you know.
For sure, man. For sure. Those are fond memories, man. Fond memories. And you know, again, man, I just, you know, I appreciate we are where we are now, but man, I had so much more plans, man. We were about to take over the world, you know, them ones there.
I know. But the thing is, we still are. That's the beauty of it all. So when I got the call that Baba made his transition, you know, you go through the human part where you leak. Like I say, every once in a while, you just kind of leak out uncontrollably because the human body has to do that purification process. And I was like, we have all been upgraded.
Yeah.
I'm like, did y'all feel that? Did you get the DNA upgrade? Like Baba now is in his most powerful, expansive form. He's immortal. You know what I'm saying? So now he's able to facilitate and usher things. And I didn't know if I would ever hear from you like this again, Derek.
Yeah.
So when you reached out and others, I said, Baba's still working. You know, he never stops.
Yeah, man. I know what he left me with. I know what he continues to fill me with, and I can only do but continue at minimum what we set out to do, what we was doing.
Yeah.
And there, you know, there were some key players, man. I know who the X-Men and X-Women are, so to speak. And you know, so there was no way because Baba's made the transition, that I'm not going to keep the contact connections with yourself, Mudu, Ayana, and others to make sure that we spread these spores. That's what I came in the game for. And just like you, man, I was in a position where I felt, I said it to the brother yesterday, I was being interviewed yesterday, and the guy asked me about Kilindi and then, you know, how I got to work with him. And, you know, and for me, it was the same thing. I was like, just on the sidelines, in awe, just wanted to back and support this brother, simply because once I found out his story and kind of realized that, right, you're the only brother out here doing this thing. And you've been out there doing it for a pretty while and nobody's got your back, especially when you come to this part of the world. I don't know what it's like in America for you, but when you come to Europe, I'm your guy, innit? I'm going to be there with the AK. I'm going to be, you know, like, if they're not letting you in the building, I'm going to be, you know, like, I wanted to be that guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, because although he was a warrior, you knew that the brother was so humble that he didn't want to ruffle feathers in something, you know, just like, would accept that, hey, they're not inviting me. And I'm like, nah, I want to go and cause some trouble. I want to stir up some shit. You know, I want to find out why they're not. If they want to do things and they're saying they want to do things, why are they not reaching out? Are they scared? Are they nervous? Are they, and that's what we wanted to explore. And as I was saying to Mudu as well, to get the opportunity to travel with him, in the UK, States, around Europe and Netherlands and Hungary and stuff. Man, that's like rolling with my superhero. That's like
Absolutely, yes. Somebody put on Facebook that he is a whole deity. And I was like, wow. I just thought that was powerful. I said Baba was a superhuman, changed my perspective. And I know I came to London the one time, but thank you. You were absolutely phenomenal, assisting us and just making sure everything was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, man. And what was amazing, I said it briefly to Baba, but what was great was that Baba had been here several times now, and I'd worked with him, he'd been to the UK 4, 5, 6, 7 times over the years. Like, he was here every year pretty much from the day that I met the brother. We made sure that he was here every year, and sometimes a couple times a year. But every time he rode solo. And that was the first time he didn't roll solo, man. So I got to see a different side of Baba, I got to see aspects of him that we don't exchange when it's just me and him, or me and when it was Mudu before, and so it was like, to have him in that, in that space, in that way, that was also, it just enlightened. I couldn't do nothing else but facilitate the space to see Baba smiling and giggling the way that he was, and, just see him in a space that, in his presentations, in the talks, when you see him on the blogs, people make their assumptions and think, he's a very serious guy. But I know you've definitely seen the soft and tender side to the brother.
Baba's funny. Baba is a comedian. That's what I appreciate about his lectures. He would always say I would go to sleep on his lectures, but Baba is funny and very loving. Anybody who's experienced the love from a Pisces, Baba's very gentle, very loving, very nurturing. I can say it now. I wouldn't dare say it before, because he's such a strong warrior, but very loving and nurturing and funny, and powerful.
For sure. So, sis, just on your journey working with Baba, obviously you mentioned the role, of, you're going to be speaking at the Women and Entheogens conference in Ohio, and Baba was, was all for that, and, a facilitator of that. But there's two things I want to explore, because he would always highlight, just, the power, the strength of women in particular. Because basically, so where I'm getting at is, in my community, everyone's like, Baba's a high dose. Do you take this amount of mushrooms? And he would always let it be known that, this is not just me out here doing this. We got a crew, we got a family, we got a community. There's young people, there's women, there's elders, all dealing with this stuff there, man. I don't know. I don't think it came up when you came here the last time, but I would just like to ask you directly as well. Just as far as where do you think Baba was coming from with his high dose experiences, and was it a bravado thing? Because you've got to roll with the guy. Some people have just made their decisions based on some videos and stuff they've seen on YouTube. So you've got to roll. So I really want to explore what this high dose experience is from your perspective. And at the same time, just look into how, the women, the entheogenic role, or, community within the sisters, Ayana, because she came and done great works here, Kai came and done great works here, you did, and the Queen, and there's something there that Baba would speak to, but he wouldn't speak on often, in the public domain, so to speak. And I know that you're one of these people. I know this, I just know. So I'm saying that to say, where are you in this theme of the high dose experience, the role of women and entheogens, and just the community that was, that is there and is still being developed?
Well, as far as Baba's high dose work, I think that may have happened more before I came along. From what I could see, again, him and Ayana and Jendai and Kai, like, we've all had different relationships with Baba for different reasons. So Ayana, I'm sure maybe could answer that question better. I just think too that
like your perspective on why would the brother be taking high dose mushrooms? Have you then taken high dose mushrooms? Could you validate, verify that is something, a route a tangible journey path to go down, or should we be staying under the 5 grammage thing and safety and that kind of?
Never stay under 5 grams. Look, never stay under 7 grams if you can help it. So I have not taken more than 12 grams. 12 is my max, but Baba says, like, you're not there until you take at least 20. I think it's different for everybody. My biggest thing, like, with the psilocybin work is it's really such a personal, spiritual thing, So when you meet God for yourself, like, I just think there's no right or wrong way, just doing what you're spiritually inclined to do. Like, that's who Baba was. He's the high dose man. He had the quantities to be able to do that, whatever his spirit inclined him to do for his personal journey. Outside of that, I do promote the higher doses. Like, when I work with men, I start out at 10 grams, so I do plan on taking the 20 grams and pushing the envelope, when I feel spiritually inclined to do that. But I get it. You do have to almost, and maybe this isn't the right word, but you almost kind of have to break yourself. You almost got to be kind of broken open so that we can really have these profound experiences. So that's just like me as it relates to the birth work. Like, once you have a baby, you're not the same anymore. So that's where I'm like, you have to take the doses that you literally rebirth yourself, and that's going to be different for different people based on their ego, based on their different levels of trauma. But I definitely feel that no one should really be, I think your first time you should take 5 to 7 grams, but now with again, how deep people are with their egos, with the social media, with trauma stockpiled through generations, our blood, like, you need the high doses to go in there and purify. You have to, So with me doing the consulting work, you get a lot of people who I recommend 10 grams. People just kind of tell me where they are on their journey, their intentions, what they're looking for. So I'll pretty much give them a number that I recommend for them to take. So they get their 10 grams in the mail and they call me and say, well, I took my journey. I said, well, how did it go? Well, it was okay. I really didn't, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, how many grams did you take? Well, when I got the package, I took 2 grams just so I could kind of see how I was going to feel. And then a few days later, I put some in a cup of coffee. And then I'm like, you consult with the medicine woman or the medicine people, and you have to do the work. You have to take the amounts that are going to crack you open, like what happens to a woman when she gives birth. Even when we're born, it's not this easy, lightweight, delicate thing that happens. Like, your bones shift, like you're literally, and so when we talk about this, I just want to go back a little bit. Both of my children were born via cesarean section. So I've never pushed a baby out of my body, which, again, through the psilocybin, it helped me to go back and heal my birth trauma and the things that I've had in my subconscious mind about not being a real woman because of it, or having small insecurities with showing up in the world and even assisting other women. I've helped plenty women push out babies. You hear me? Vaginal births after C-sections, home births after vaginal birth, or after cesarean births, and all these things. So it took me to go in that and, appreciate, or like I said, I had to take one for the team so I can go in and see these different psychological effects, things that happen when birth happens, whatever that means for you, whether you push the baby out or whether it's a cesarean, losing babies, your support that you have, lack of breastfeeding, all those things. It's just like, it's meant to change your life forever. That's what birth does. When you come into this planet through birth, like, that's one of the most powerful experiences that you've had in your life, is the day you were born. So again, that's why with the doses, and we're talking slop, right?
Yeah, man.
So I'm just kind of like, with birth, for one, there's water involved. Most of the time it's going to be blood. Not that we want blood from your mushroom journey. No, we don't want blood. But some snot, some crying, some laughter, some vomiting, some boo-boo. A little bit of it all lets you know that organs are shifting, chemicals are being released. You know, the body is moving things out of the way in order for this transition to happen. So again, I didn't bring my charger for my phone. My computer is going to be shutting off soon, unfortunately. But so, again, for me, with holding space for people and seeing blockages, even with a woman who is having difficulties pushing a baby out because of a molestation or the space not being secure or set for her, it's with those higher doses of psilocybin that you bear it all, that you surrender to spirit and the process of whatever it takes for you to almost like never be the same. So if you're taking psilocybin and you going back to the same shit, if you still doing the same things and expecting different results, guess what? You have not taken enough. You know, so that's my personal experience. So even it's kind of like, and I know this may sound, I don't know how it may sound, but it's kind of like for you to hire me to come and hold space. I hold space in all different types of situations, but for me to hold space for you while you take 3 to 5 grams is a bit of a waste of both of our time.
I feel you, sis, man.
It can be.
I feel you. I honestly do feel. I tell people, get in where you fit, and if you feel you don't want to take the 5 grams, or you need to take 2 grams to do, if that's what you feel you need to do, then do what you've got to do. But at the same time,
what Spirit is definitely recommending you to do.
Yeah, but I'm pretty, like, I can tell you, like, I think 100% of the people that I know that do that, they're always telling me you got 2% left for real, and you've got no charger. I know what you're we got 8 minutes. It tells me we got 8 minutes of battery life. You've got 8 minutes of battery life left.
I do, but it's all good. We're going to talk Slop until it's shut down. I'm with it.
So let me not talk. Let's get you to talk, sis. We're going to spend a few minutes now and tie it in, because, you have this profession of being a doula, an entheogenic midwife. What does that mean? As a doula, what does your work involve, and how have you tied that in with entheogens and your own entheogenic experiences?
Again, it's the art of holding space. I've mentioned this before in talks, as women having a womb, being born with a womb and carrying children, and just the whole process of the blood and everything. It's like we are natural born space holders and sacred space keepers. So again, when I show up for a birth, I'm not doing a bunch of talking. It's not about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just holding this safe space to make sure this woman gets everything that she needs out of this process. So I'm bathing her if that's what she needs. Again, water birth, shower, cold compresses. I'm doing massage therapy. All of these things that help with release and help with comfort and just the security of someone helping you through these processes. So not every woman wants to be touched. Not every woman wants water. So I kind of just follow their lead, or something intuitively comes over me to do or provide for them. That's what I do. So the same thing as far as the entheogenic midwifery goes. It's the same process. Women take their clothes off. Again, you may want to boo-boo. You may spit. You may slob. You may vomit. I'm holding hair. I'm walking you to the bathroom and just certain things. The same way I show up for birth is the same way I show up in the medicine ceremony. I may have to affirm things over you, but this is your process. I'm not doing a bunch of, so people are like, are you guiding me and doing certain things? No, the medicine will guide you and take care of you. I'm just here to kind of add a little extra service, make sure you're well hydrated. Again, speaking affirmations over you if that's what you need. But some people don't need that. They don't want that. And I can just go in the other room and make sure they're okay. You have women who birth at home by themselves. You have unassisted birth. Whatever that woman and that baby, whatever process that they need to do, you allow it. So I feel not everybody needs a gatekeeper or a sitter through their mushroom experience. Again, you have to do what you're being called to do. There's people that I've been there that I may have kept them from reaching their peak or what they needed to get, because people do wear masks. Sometimes people are shy. You know, you're opening up for the first time in ways that you're not comfortable. You may need to be alone. So again, that's why I offer the consulting, just to pretty much get people to check in with themselves. Just like a mom with a baby, she may say, hey, well, what about this? And I'll say, did you ask your baby? You know, what does your baby think you should do? So it's about getting people to tap in with themselves to see if they need a sitter there, if they're actually even ready for the medicine. Like my sister friend told me, don't rush into it, wait. You know, so there are just those things that as an entheogenic midwife, I'm helping you give birth to your best self.